Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Gene Bohensky at LinkHigh Technologies. I'm joined with the president and founder, Victor Liu of LinkHigh Technologies. And the title of this presentation is Onboarding and Offboarding Processes, why it matters, and specifically why it's essential to have good onboarding and offboarding processes for your own cybersecurity and IT security. Well, let's just start with a little introduction to LinkHigh. LinkHigh Technologies was founded in 1992, and we're based in Morris County, New Jersey. So we have over 30 years experience providing IT and cybersecurity services to small and medium-sized businesses. And our mission is to do far more than just deliver managed IT services. We are trusted business partners to all clients, helping them to achieve goals, evolve with technology, scale and grow to become more profitable while providing uncommonly great customer service. We ensure this level of customer service by applying our signature service standards to everything we do. So our clients are typically growing companies, scaling from 50 to 400 computers. Their current IT provider may not be able to meet the latest cybersecurity requirements or have the experience with larger companies and the challenges that they have, including employee and onboarding and offboarding. Companies that lack resources or the desire to do the work themselves. And we work across a wide range of industries, including manufacturers, distributors, service companies, and other companies that are looking for the latest IT services. So let's talk about onboarding and offboarding. So onboarding and offboarding employees are essential processes to any business, and they are equally important. And in our experience, these processes are often overlooked or not really taken seriously by a lot of the companies we work with. Let's start with onboarding. The onboarding process is essential to employee retention. It provides your new employee what they need and creates an overall smooth transition into their new role. And this is one of the first impressions your new hire will have of your business. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, if you do this incorrectly, employees have a poor attitude towards their job and might not stay with you for very long. The next is offboarding processes. So the prompt process of offboarding an employee is just as important as onboarding. No matter the circumstances of the employee's departure from your company, thoroughly completing their offboarding is important for many reasons. And really, the first one is security. The second reason is communication. And the third is company data. So let's talk about security. So you want to make sure when you're offboarding an employee that your IT department is able to quickly shut off emails and shut off access to computers and to your network. This is essential that it's done right away. And we'll have some stories later on to talk about what happens when it doesn't happen on time. The second reason is communication. You want to make sure that client, employee, and vendor communications are redirected to the right person or department. This is important too. You want to make sure the right people have access to the former employee's emails. You want to make sure that their emails are forwarded to the right people and nothing slips through the cracks. That's something that we've also seen happen very often, and customers can get slighted from that. The third reason is company data. You want to make sure that the employee's work product is transferred, backed up, so it can be accessed when necessary. You don't want to lose it either, and you want to make sure it's protected. So if there's any issues with that employee, if they're disgruntled or upset about leaving, you want to make sure that they're not able to do any damage to your company. And that has happened. So for onboarding, it all starts with a questionnaire. Here's what we want to talk about with onboarding. We want to make sure, as from the IT company's perspective, right? This is our perspective, helping companies like you with your onboarding processes. It helps that we have all the information so that we can properly onboard that person for you. So first thing to know is what equipment is required. Does that employee need a laptop, a desktop, a printer, something else? Are they going to be remote, or they're going to be in the office? We also need a setup complete date. What's the time all this needs to be done? We want to make sure that it is all done so that when the employee comes on board, they're going to see that everything has been completed for them. I remember a very long time ago, I started a job with a company that was very competent. I walked in the door and I sat at a desk and everything was present for me. There were computers, there were business cards, there were signs. The company spent a lot of time making sure that that they were ready to go. And in today's world, most of that has to do around the computer and access to the right software and everything that they need. As part of the information we also need, we need the requester's name in case of questions. So if there's any issues, we need to have the right person to contact at your company to know that we can find out if there's a problem, or if there's something that they need, who we can talk to. We also need to know the department of the new individual. This usually determines to a large extent the software permissions, printers, and network access. Because as your IT provider, as we get to know your company and become really your partner in IT, we're going to know your different departments. We're going to know what software people use, what tools you use, and we want to make sure that when that person is hired, we're getting everything set up with everything ready to go. We have to know whether there's an Office 365 license required, whether there's a mobile phone for MFA that is required, and MFA is multi-factor authorization. So for our clients, we want to make sure they all have MFA in place, and as a result, they all are going to need a phone where they're going to need to confirm their identity to be able to get into their network and get into their computer if necessary. And if there's any special requests that are required for this particular employee that you're onboarding. Now, one of the things that we do, we've developed special onboarding processes for our clients. We have clients that are onboarding 20 to 30 people a month. That means that we're used to doing it. We have everything really set up to make sure that we can do that onboarding process quickly and on time, so that when the employees come in, everything is ready to go. And if you guys are looking for an IT provider and onboarding is an issue for you, we'd be happy to talk to you about these processes to help you get what you need. Now, for offboarding, it ends with a checklist. So it starts with a questionnaire and it ends with a checklist, right? Their employee stay. The primary purpose is security, maintaining communications and access to data, as mentioned before. So the questions that we ask and we have on our checklist is, who are we forwarding those emails to? Are we forwarding them to a manager or to a replacement? Are we going to back up or move data to a new location? We're going to need to revoke permissions to applications, the network VPN, SaaS applications, etc. We need to be able to do that right away. Is there any need to retain emails due to company retention policy or litigation? We want to obtain possession of their computer and securely wipe it out. We want to make sure we get their computer. This is an issue. A lot of times, employees aren't really happy when they leave and they take their computer with them. And we want to be able to repurpose that computer for a replacement or a spare, as well as reclaim the software and SaaS user licenses. So here, I want to just talk about a couple of stories of field experience. And here, Victor is with us and can kind of chime in with some of the challenges he's seen. Victor, maybe you want to talk about the experience you've had with some clients lately regarding employee offboarding and what happens when you don't do it right.
Sure, thank you, Gene. Well, these are horror stories, but they all happen. I think every one happened this year. And it's more and more common as the workforce has moved to either fully remote or a hybrid. So number one is next employee sending angry emails to staff, downloading, deleting files. So this employee was terminated by HR, but IT wasn't notified. So he was, not happy that he was let go. He started sending emails since he was still part of the system, sending emails to the staff and downloading and deleting files that he had access to. So it just reinforces the offboarding process is mainly about security. The second one, a hacker was able to access the email of the next employee, sensitive data was stolen. So again, someone was offboarded, they weren't removed from the system, and a hacker was able to do probably a brute force password attack, and the client did have MFA, right, which is a requirement for all our clients now. The third one, this has happened throughout the years, and the salesperson wasn't offboarded, continued to use emails for own business, diverting sales to his own business. And this has actually happened while someone's employed too. So it just goes to show that you have to really have some data leak protection as well. So, he was off, he was let go, his emails were still active. I guess clients were still sending him emails for quotes and proposals, and he was responding with his own quotes and proposals of his, either it was a new firm or his own firm. So that's really diverting sales from, our client. In most cases, we weren't informed of the termination in advance. Yeah, so those are horror stories. What we do really is everything starts with a conversation. We create the onboarding form, an offboarding form, and we review it quarterly. This morning, I had a quarterly review with our second largest client, and they've added quite a few things in their onboarding. So one was the special requests. They have about 10 SaaS applications that they would like us to create links for. So what we're going to do is for new laptops or new computers, we're going to populate those links to Salesforce, to their HR platform, to their SharePoint. So it's already going to be there for them. Just makes it easier.
I have one story that I also have about that was one sales manager that was actually offboarded, and they actually found out he had access to emails for over 3 weeks, and he was actually able to contact all the customers, badmouth the company, and ask for a job. It was horribly embarrassing. So it goes to show you how important it is to tighten that process at your company. I'm sure Victor agrees. That's a real important one. So I just wanted to reach out. If any of you want to contact us, we can help you talk about and help you with your onboarding and offboarding processes. But in the meantime, I would like to stop the screen share and open this up to questions. If any of you out there have any questions about employee onboarding or offboarding, or maybe you just want to make some comments of some of the things that you've seen at your company. Any of you have any questions for Victor?
I have a quick question. My name is Ian.
How you doing, Ian?
So in order to create more interest among employee, will you recommend them sending them like training to upgrade their skills and giving them like pay raise, especially for workers working from home?
I'm sorry, I missed that question.
Will you recommend like giving them more incentive if they pass their certification for certain skills upgrade?
Well, that's outside the scope of the onboarding, offboarding, but yes, for Link High, for our employees, we would certainly, we tied pay raises to certifications, more vendor training completion, so we certainly tie. And there are compensation raises for that. But back to the onboarding, offboarding, just to go through our process, since I did this morning with our client. So we're creating an online form. We have our own proprietary software that we had a developer do. So the online form goes to the hiring manager, HR, C-level. It has all the fields that we talked about, plus more. Like, I mentioned that there was a special request from our second largest client about putting all the shortcuts. So her HR manager is going to provide us all those shortcuts. We're going to pre-populate it in their Chrome, which is their company default for them. And then the other special request is the 15-minute training, how to use the VPN, how to access network resources. We can't teach you how to use Office and their products, but we can certainly teach you how to use, how to connect to the network, where the shortcuts are. And then for the offboarding, they want to add, so when someone leaves, there's an auto reply instead of, sending an email to a black hole, no response. But, we're going to say this person is no longer with the organization. Please contact, usually it's the manager or their direct replacement. These are all online forms. The next iteration that we're doing, I'm proud to announce that in January, and this is something we didn't create, but I'm actually leasing the software. There's some what's called RPA software, robotic process automation software. So I'm tying these online forms to the software to really do it automatically. So if the fields are populated, we're doing tests with our largest client because they onboard 20 to 30 people a week during the summer. They're a big general contractor. Is all the fields that you have, we ran a test. So I'll pick Gene Bohinsky from the list. I'll create them in Active Directory, go up to Microsoft 365, create your email based on convention, email convention that we already decided on. It assigns you the proper Office 365 license that you selected in the form. We also have another software deployment that I'll deploy, and they have 6 to 12 applications: the Adobe Acrobats, the Bluebeams, the AutoCAD, and Trimble. So our software will automatically kind of push all this out and install it. And then the final piece, which I like, is it adds it to our monthly agreement for billing purposes. So what we're trying to do is, automate this process. It starts with the form, review it on a quarterly basis or more frequent if there's updates, and we're add to it, right? So our clients during the meeting is really, what's changed in your hiring process? What can we add? The other thing is, this company's in probably like 8 states now. Before, we never had on the form. They want to know what state they're reporting to. So, all this could be tailored to the client.
Here's a question. Do you use an automated software for onboarding and offboarding without involving IT every time?
Yeah, so that's the RPA software I just mentioned. We're in beta. It's been a long process. We're it's October now, so month 6 in testing it. And it's working. So we ran 4 tests. The program worked. It's really going out to the Microsoft portal and our distributor to purchase the license. It would not purchase the license properly. And it wouldn't check if there was an available license for our client. So that itself took like 2 to 3 months to fix, but it's working. So this process, it's tailored for this one, our biggest client, is ready to roll in 2 weeks, right? And then we're going to go through the process for all our clients, right? So the goal is not to do this manually, right? I'd rather have our staff be more client facing, talking to our clients to troubleshoot the problems instead of onboarding and offboarding.